My heart like you do, and I could search for all eternity long and find there is none like you, there is none like you.
Christmas 2010 is over. The tree is still up, but it looks awfully empty underneath it. All that's left is of the turkey is a bare skeleton. Visiting family members have left to go home. The excitement of Christmas that took weeks to build up to a crescendo, and now it's over. Life has gotten back to normal. And many people suffer from the post-Christmas blues. And I dare say there's probably people that are not here this morning because either the previous night they didn't get enough sleep before Christmas because they were all excited, and they got up too early in the morning because of the kids, or maybe because we always woke up our kids at Christmas time. Wake up, go look at your toys. And then filling up on turkey and eating too much and not getting enough sleep, and the next day hits Sunday, and that bed can look awful tempting. And some people just experience the post-Christmas blahs. The post-Christmas blues. And it can be depressing for people. But this morning, I want to talk to you about some people who went through post-Christmas blues in a severe way that we don't think about. That when you look at what they went through after Christmas, you can feel blessed about how you are today. And those people are Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Think of what it was like for Mary and Joseph. We spend weeks before Christmas preaching about the events leading up and including the birth of Jesus, but we seldom hear a sermon about what happened to them after Christmas. Some people don't consider Joseph to be a very important character in the Christmas story, but I beg to differ. The Bible doesn't record anything about Joseph and what he ever said. He is usually ignored. The emphasis is always on Jesus, Mary, the shepherds, the wise men, the morning Joseph. This morning, Joseph is the central character of our sermon. Their life was going to be turned upside down, topsy-turvy. Nothing for their family would ever be the same again. Luke simply sums it up, the next 12 years in two verses. Read Luke chapter 2, verses 39 through 40. Luke 2, 39 through 40. Reading from the New International Version of the Bible. When Joseph and Mary had done everything they were required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. And the child grew up and became strong. He was filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was on him. It sounds really nice. But Matthew gives a more detailed description. Look at Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. It says, when they had gone, and they are the wise men, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said. Take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned about the Magi. Then what was said through a prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they were no more." After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. And he said, "Get up and take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who were trying to take the child's life are dead." So he got up and took the child and his mother and went to this land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea in place of his father, Herod, he was afraid to go there. Having been warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a town called Nazareth. So was fulfilled what was said through the prophets, that he would be called a Nazarene. Anyway, the angel tells Joseph in a dream to flee to Egypt because Herod was going to try to kill Jesus. There are several things I really want us to see here. And first and foremost is Joseph's obedience. Joseph's obedience. We don't hear a lot of words out of Joseph, if any at all. But we see Joseph's actions. Joseph was obedient. And Joseph's obedience was immediate. When he was told to get up and take the child to safety to Egypt, he didn't waste any time. He didn't wait till morning. He got them packed that night and he headed out to Egypt. Joseph's obedience was immediate. If only we were that way. When God tells us to do things, when we know what we ought to do, how many times do we put it off because it's inconvenient? Because we think it's not the right time? Or we just don't want to make the commitment? His obedience was immediate. Joseph's obedience was complete. Think about what it meant for Joseph. He and Mary had traveled from Nazareth to Bethlehem, expecting to stay only a few days for the census, and then return. They hadn't planned on moving lock, stock, and barrel. Their family was back in Nazareth. They hadn't even said goodbye. They didn't bring a wagon loaded with furniture, with valuables or furnishings. Joseph probably had an entire carpenter shop back in Nazareth. What would happen to that? In the middle of the night, God said, "Move." And Joseph didn't argue with God. He didn't ask God for a plan B or conditions. He didn't try to figure it all out. He just obeyed. I think that's why God chose Joseph to be the stepfather of Jesus. Amen? God knew his heart that Joseph was sensitive to God's will. Speaking of being sensitive to God's will, I failed to say, Amy, thank you for your special. She has a beautiful voice, doesn't she? I also want us to look at God's provision. God's provision. When God calls, He provides. When God calls, He provides. God wouldn't have told Mary and Joseph to go to Egypt and then just say, "You're on your own, good luck."